Bronze Era. The Bronze Era marks the inception of bodybuilding as a formal discipline, characterized by a focus on aesthetics, symmetry, and physical culture. Pioneers like Eugen Sandow, often hailed as the father of bodybuilding, emphasized classical proportions and muscular development. Sandow's influence extended beyond his own physique. He popularized bodybuilding through exhibitions and competitions, setting standards for future generations. During this period, training methods were rudimentary yet effective. Bodybuilders relied on basic equipment such as barbells, dumbbells, and kettlebells. Exercises were predominantly compound movements, emphasizing functional strength and muscle development. The emphasis was on achieving a balanced physique, with a focus on posture and presentation. Notable figures of the Bronze Era include George Hackenschmidt, known as the Russian Lion, who was a pioneer in strength training and bodybuilding. His training regimen and physique inspired many in the early 20th century. Fun fact: Eugen Sandow won the first bodybuilding competitions in 1901, and the winner was awarded a bronze statue of Sandow himself, which is now the iconic Mr. Olympia trophy. Silver Era, 1940s to 1950s. The Silver Era represents the early professionalization of bodybuilding, bridging the Bronze Era's foundational aesthetic focus with more structured competition formats. During this time, bodybuilding gained popularity through magazine features, exhibitions, and the first Mr. Universe contests. Notable bodybuilders include Steve Reeves, whose classic proportions and cinematic presence as Hercules brought mass attention to bodybuilding. Reggie Park, a three-time Mr. Universe winner, combined strength training with bodybuilding, inspiring future legends like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Training techniques evolved with a growing emphasis on heavier weights, split routines, and diet planning. The sport was still primarily about aesthetics and proportion, but competitive bodybuilding was starting to gain recognition worldwide. It was also during this era that anabolic steroids were first synthesized and began to see use among bodybuilders, setting the stage for the explosive growth of enhanced physiques in the decades to follow. Reggie Park, a Silver Era legend, reportedly performed squats with over 500 pounds at a time, so heavy that some gyms banned him from lifting there because people thought it was unsafe. The Golden Era, 1960s to 1970s. The Golden Era is the most famous period in bodybuilding history, and probably the one you're most familiar with. This was the time when bodybuilding truly exploded into the mainstream. It was defined by legendary names like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbu, Lou Ferrigno, Frank Zane, and Mike Mentzer. Training became more advanced, nutrition more structured, and the physiques more refined, focused on aesthetics, symmetry, and balance. Arnold's dominance on the Olympia stage, combined with his larger-than-life personality and eventual Hollywood career, pushed bodybuilding into global popularity like never before. This era also marked the first real shift towards science-based lifting. Mike Mentzer, for example, introduced his heavy-duty system, built on low reps, short, high-intensity sessions that challenged the marathon-style workouts dominating the time. Fun fact: Arnold and his training partners often spent 5 to 6 hours a day in the gym, split into brutal morning and evening sessions, an approach that would be considered extreme by today's standards. Mass Monster Era, 1980s to 1990s. The Mass Monster era marked a shift towards unprecedented muscle size and conditioning in bodybuilding. Athletes began pushing the limits of human muscular development, producing some of the largest physiques in the history of the sport. Dorian Yates pioneered this era with his incredible size and granite conditioning, winning 6 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. Ronnie Coleman, Kevin Levrone, Jean-Pierre Fuchs, and Flex Wheeler also defined this period with extreme mass, vascularity, and muscle fullness. Symmetry became secondary to sheer muscle size, though some athletes like Shawn Ray managed to maintain a more aesthetic balance while still competing against the mass monsters of their time. This was also the period when training intensity reached new extremes. Dorian Yates popularized the blood and guts style of training, short, brutally intense sessions built on maximum effort, while Ronnie Coleman became known for lifting weights that rivaled professional powerlifters, showing the world just how far bodybuilders could push the human body. Fun fact: Ronnie Coleman famously trained with up to 800 pounds on the squat for 3 reps, and later said he regretted not doing more. His superhuman strength earned him the nickname The King, and cemented his place as perhaps the most iconic bodybuilder in the entire community. Freak Era, 1990s to 2000s. The Freak Era pushed muscle size to almost unimaginable levels, with athletes achieving extreme proportions while maintaining surprisingly detailed conditioning. Ronnie Coleman, Marcus Rule, Paul Dillett, and Greg Kovach became synonymous with this period, while later stars like Kai Green, Phil Heath, Sean Roden, and Branch Warren carried its influence into the 2000s. Bodybuilders in this period blended mass with detail, focusing not only on size but also on the unique artistry of posing and presentation. Social media started to play a role, allowing fans to engage with athletes' daily routines, nutrition, and personalities. Fun fact, Marcus Rühl, known as the German Machine, once benched over 700 pounds in training, raw and without modern supportive gear, an insane display of strength that matched his reputation as one of the freakiest bodybuilders to ever step on stage. Modern/classic revival era, 2010s to present. The modern classic revival era combines the aesthetics of the golden era with modern size, conditioning, and presentation. Big Ramy, Brandon Curry, Chris Bumstead, and other contemporary athletes embody this era, emphasizing symmetry, proportion, and detailed conditioning while respecting classical lines. There's also an increased focus on health, longevity, and balanced physiques. Women's bodybuilding divisions, natural bodybuilding, and classic physique competitions reflect a broader definition of what a champion physique can be. Bodybuilding and fitness became more mainstream than ever during this period, thanks in large part to social media and influencers like Sam Sulek, Lex Little, David Lade, Alex Eubank, and many more, who brought training, nutrition, and lifestyle tips directly to millions of followers worldwide. This era also saw the rise of online coaching, virtual competitions, and global communities, allowing aspiring athletes from all over the world to connect, learn, and compete without ever stepping into a traditional gym. Social media not only popularized bodybuilding as entertainment, but also made the lifestyle accessible, inspiring a new generation of fans and competitors to chase their own physiques. Athletes like Chris Bumstead perfectly embody this shift, using these platforms to share their journey and influence millions worldwide. His journey from training in his parents' basement to becoming a 5-time Mr. Olympia champion showcases the power of dedication and social media. I will be posting every single week, so if you enjoyed this video and are interested in bodybuilding and powerlifting stuff, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel.